Hello, gamers, and welcome to my official. I don't really know what to say. I think I'm almost done with playing Overwatch as a whole. I can't take it anymore, dude. Like every time, like the death of quick play. Let's talk about that. They should have never made that announcement that they wanted quick play to be more like competitive. Because all the time now, I'm getting just toxic teammates in my lobby all the time that are taking quick play way too serious. In Overwatch 1, okay, quick play was where you go to chill and try to learn new characters. Now, I can't even play the characters I like in quick play. If I'm not counter swapping to help my tank, or if I'm the tank and I'm forced to counter swap, because if I don't, then I just don't get to play the game at all. You know, it's this game. I was gonna save my piece. I was gonna wait, you know, because they were doing the new tank patch and they giga buff tanks. Okay, they made tanks soar, their power soar through the roof. And now it's even worse. Like with Reinhardt, I charge pin somebody for 300 and then I double fire strike a tank and they don't die. I can't, like, even tanks can't kill tanks unless you're Malga. There's gonna be a couple caveats with a couple characters, you know, but it's so annoying. I'm so tired of sustain being the meta in Overwatch 2. Sustain metas are the worst metas, period. It feels like ever since the launch of Overwatch 2, the main tanks that we've played have been Orisa, Hog, and then Sigma, Malga. Those are the only four, like the Trinity tanks that have been the main bane of my existence, with Wrecking Ball and Doomfist being the sleeper annoying as to deal with tanks, period. Okay, I know there's some people on Doom that are really good with Doom and you know you can have fun, but then the entire enemy team counterpicks you and then all your fun is out the window. Okay, Wrecking Ball is annoying because he just doesn't die. He has a primal alt health pool every couple seconds. He runs in, and at the elo I'm at, nobody knows how to play against Ball. Let me preference that first. Like, I'm in high plat, low diamond. Ball is just a complete menace, unkillable. You know, he rolls in, boops everybody around, rolls out. Both happens every time. The DPS will chase him. One support will chase both the DPS, and then I'm left stranded on point. And they're not gonna catch Ball. Okay, Ball is way too fast, but like that's what makes the character so annoying. You know, in high level play, I'm sure he isn't good. You'll hear that all the time. Like, he'll just get hacked, stunned, sleep, whatever. Cool, great, fantastic for high level play. You can actually deal with that. But where I'm at, I can't, because if I breathe, look the wrong way, I get flamed by my supports. It's always the support players, in quick play at least. It's always the support players to flame the tank. And I just can't do it anymore. Like, there's been so many things wrong with Overwatch 2 as a whole. I wish we would just go back to Overwatch 1, because in Overwatch 1, dude, you know what? Screw it. I am making this a 5v5 versus 6v6 thing, because none of these problems happen in 6v6 because we had another tank to deal with all the CC. Dude, in this gameplay, you'll see me playing as Reinhardt, okay? Yeah, you'll see me playing as Reinhardt, and then watch this. but you were nanoed in grav? I don't know. Probably because I couldn't hit them. They were out of my range. I was in grav. Like, it's just like this, like all the time. There is just, it's just playing tank. You either dominate because your DPS can land the passive, or you're helpless to your teammates' will. And I hate it. I do not like playing tank anymore. Tank was my favorite role in Overwatch 1 because there was a certain strategy that you would have to do with taking space and playing smart around corners, and now it feels like, dude, the game is so dumbed down. If I'm not just walking at the enemy with shield up and then just hoping that my supports can do anything, we're stuck in an infinite poke meta, and I hate poke. Okay, I prefer going up against dive and brawl. I hate poke meta. Poke meta is the worst because none of the teammates will ever go to the objective. I alone as the tank, because if you don't, tank players, you know what I'm talking about, especially if you're where I'm at. You get flamed if you're not standing on point alone in poke metas. Specifically poke metas. This is where this happened. Okay, so I hate that because it feels like 90% of the time I'm playing alone at the whim of my support's mercy. I can't out damage support healing. The only people I can really bully is the DPS, and they can't win fights, which is kind of lame because back in Overwatch 1, you'd have to be more careful taking on DPS because they had the abilities to kill you, you know, to eliminate you. Now it's like the only characters I can actually defeat consistently is DPS. That's it, and that sucks. In the sense of playing DPS and going up against tank, like vice versa. It sucks for them too. And it's annoying because it's like the main characters that I go up against all the time lately is Pharah. Cassidy has been a big one, even with the nerfs and stuff. He's just still dominating where I'm at. Sombra is really annoying, especially when I'm playing Reinhardt. It's like whenever I play Reinhardt, like Reinhardt v Reinhardt's used to be fun until the other players started getting into it, because now it's like if I don't have a Mei, I'm screwed. If I don't have a Lucio, I'm screwed. If I don't have a Kiriko or an Ana, either one of them, it's like, oh no, you know. And they'll have, if I'm playing Reinhardt v Reinhardt, I've gone up against Reinhardt's with a stack because I'll play solo and I get put in like against 4 stacks all the time, and it's just the worst thing ever. Being paired with the 4 stack sucks, and being like going up against a 4 stack sucks, because as a solo tank, if you're paired and you go in with a 4 stack, you get blamed 100% of the time. There has not been a single time where I haven't gone up with a 4 stack if I've not like been omnipresent. And that's the main problem with like Overwatch tanking right now. Dude, the game requires you to be omnipresent to just exist in the game while simultaneously doing nothing. Like, it's so annoying. Like, and the worst part is most of the time it only feels like the tanks I rotate into is just, I start off as Rein doesn't go good. I don't want to commit to Malga yet, so I play Sigma because Sigma's good in almost any situation, especially Poke now, since Poke is so prominent in this game because of Pharah, I feel. Okay, so I go Sigma, and then they counterpick my Sigma with Hog every time without fail, okay? Because they'll pop the DPS will pop my shield. I will try to use Suck while going around a corner to take cover. Hooked in, instantly one shot, basically. I get focus fired because you're the tank. So you get focus fired instantly and just explode. Like, they, even with all the giga buffing, like, tanks still just like explode. I've seen it happen to people I've gone up against and people have gone up against me. You know, it's either you dominate really, really hard or you get rolled really, really, really hard. And I can't do it anymore. Like, this game used to be my favorite game of all time, and I've stuck with this game throughout Overwatch 2, even though I haven't. If you've been to my streams, you've known my opinions. I've talked about it in depth. We've gone over gone over it many times, but it just feels like there's nothing more I can do or add to the game besides just like it's like a dice roll at this point of against mechanics. And I feel like all my skill and all my positioning and like other things I've learned have degraded because I just play Malga, go brr, and usually I that's the only way I can do it. Especially with this DPS passive, it's so annoying because you either do really good because of it because your DPS can hit shots, or you're in trouble because of it because your DPS can't hit shots, and then you're instantly at a disadvantage or an advantage in the game. And it's just, I don't like the passives in the game. I think the only character slash tank that should get the tank passive is Reinhardt, because he's the only melee tank besides kind of Ramatra, but Ramatra has good decent range options anyways, so it doesn't really matter, you know? And like the power creep in this game is insane, and like I'm just not enjoying it anymore. Every time I play it now, it's rinse and repeat. The same thing happens over and over. I'm playing like the definition of insanity. I'm not having fun with, which is the main part. Like I come after work and I want to play Overwatch, or I used to with my friends, and now it's like I just can't have fun with the game. And I've crashed out so many times on stream because of this game, like how bad the matches have gone, where it feels like no matter what I did as a player, like I was helpless in what was happening in the game. Like I had no player agency at all. And it frustrates me that abilities are now stronger than most ults in the game, when in Overwatch 1 it felt like when you got your ult, it was like your win button, and the only way that could stop was like Zen, Tranquility, and or a Mercy res back in like really early Overwatch, you know? And now it just feels like, man, I get an ultimate. Oh man, the immortality abilities, here they come. Oh, the infinite CC, here it comes. You know, ults don't feel as strong as they used to. Like, I think it's a meme now in like the Reinhardt community where we just solo ult now, like mainly support players, because I agree, support players deserve to be solo ulted, okay? As a tank main, the amount of toxic support players I've had the displeasure to go up against is insane, dude. And none of them want to help counterpick, which is like instantly puts the tank at the mercy of the enemy players if your team doesn't help counterpick, which I am so annoyed that we have to counterpick, because back in Overwatch 1, oh my goodness, this is so like back in the day. It's not rose tinted glasses if it's actually better, dude. Okay, I'm saying this now. Back then, you could play what you want for the most part and do relatively fine, and you could still pull out wins more often than not. Now I feel like I'm just at the mercy of like the core ability and mechanics of the game instead of the actual player's skill, and like I just get rolled by unstoppable abilities, and I don't know. It just really frustrates me, and the more I've tried to play it, the more I just get frustrated, and like we've become a worse paladins. Like back in the day, I'm gonna say that a lot. You know what? Whatever. Back in the day, when Overwatch was first played and Paladins came out, Paladins was looked at as the worst Overwatch. Now, I feel like I've been having more fun playing Paladins than Overwatch. It's annoying because it's like the counterpicking is too strong in Overwatch. And but like I understand if you're not allowed to swap characters, you instantly lose off the bat if you are going up against a tank that is already countering you, which is why I like how Paladins has those little card things that you can get in the game, and then you have your own skill tree. What happened to skill trees in Overwatch? I wish they would go back to 6v6. I guess this is me crying out. Like, I would really like 6v6 to come back. I've heard all the arguments. I don't want it to be deathmatchy. I want it to be teamwork based. I don't think tank synergies were strong. I always thought there was 4 characters in Overwatch 1 that ruined the game. And I think a lot of people can agree on this, but it was Sigma, Orisa, Bap, and Brig. I think those characters are the ones, as much as I like Brig, I think Brig is in a good spot now, but I still think that character needs a fundamental change with how they heal and what they do, and I think that Brig will be fine. But I think those 4 characters ruined Overwatch 1 because they allowed infinite uptime, and I think that is what's giving people most of the PTSD of Overwatch 1 and why they don't want to go back, is because they're so deathly afraid of like double shield. But that was just a sustained comp. We've been playing 2 years and had like 90% of the time be just nothing but sustained comps, because tanks take all the CC, all the damage, forcing Overwatch or the devs to keep buffing tanks, because if they don't, then the tank players just can't play the game. And a lot of the time, like, that's just how it goes. Like, you can see it, like, if you play it, you felt it. If you seen people play it at high elo, or even where I'm playing at in like mid elo to low elo, like, you see that it's all across the board. We all almost always play the same stuff now. I think people are a little bit disconnected with like what we low elo players are going through, but we're basically playing the same stuff at the top all the way down at the bottom, because sustained has gotten that oppressive that it's top all the way down now. At the top, like, it used to be a completely different game. Like, they would, like, the top elo people, like in top 500, would be playing a completely different game than what we would be playing in low elo. But now we've, like, Overwatch 2 has kind of forced us to all play the same stuff, because the lowest effort, highest value characters are some of the best characters in the game now. And it just sucks. Like, every time I'm going on Overwatch, I'm going up against a full squad where they all counterpick against the one tank. The only tank that I feel like I can even stand up, and it's so annoying because then it turns into a kind of 1v1, because then it's just 2 Malgas shooting at each other. It's a chain. Like, okay, this is how it goes every time. Every time it'll go, I'm playing Reinhardt and they're playing Doomfist. Okay, the Doomfist isn't doing good enough to defeat my Rein, so they swap Ramatra, and then a support will swap, and then those 2 people start beating the shit out of me. My team doesn't want to swap, so I have to swap, and then usually into Ramatra. Like, if you're swapping into Ramatra, there's like a couple picks you can do into him. The best one being Malga, which I try not to do, and the other one being gosh, the other one I try to be Winston, and I like to dive and jump around the Ramatra, staying out of his range and then going for his supports. But if I do that, here comes the Hog. The Hog comes out, and then if I play Winston, Hog comes out, and then I'm forced to play Malga because Orisa isn't good enough to counter Hog. So you are forced to play Malga, and then you play Malga for a little bit, and then the enemy tank will flame you for counter picking. Happens all the time because Malga is that hated of a character, even though we were all hyped for that character to come out a few years ago. I think he would have been a lot better in Overwatch 1. I'm just saying, I think off-tanking now, like off-tank comps, could work in Overwatch 1 better than they did before, because now we have options. My opinion, for the whole reason why, like, people hated off-tanks is because we just had a bad pair of off-tanks. We have off-tanks now. Like, imagine Hog Malga. I know that sounds really fucking scary, but hear me out. They'll be nerfed. They'll be killable. Okay? But you hook into Malga's, it's a nightmare. Okay? But imagine Junker Queen Zarya That, or you could even go diva into diva rom comps. Like, they could work. Like, it would be fine. And then you would, like, it would mitigate counter picking so much. But that's if the brain rot of Overwatch 2 hasn't already corrupted every tank's mind. And then once we finally get 6v6, I don't think a lot of people have thought about this. Once we get 6v6, the brain rot of 5v5 has already done its damage by now. And then everybody starts counter picking and over, like, in 6v6. Will that happen? It could. With, like, I don't know. Like, we're about to hear, I wanted to talk about this when the devs finally talk about 6v6. I wanted to talk about it then, but unfortunately they haven't said anything after the mid-season, so we haven't heard anything from them yet. So we're waiting for the next the dev blog, but it's just, I don't know how much longer. Like, I'm gonna wait until that dev blog where they talk about 6v6 before I finally make my decision whether I want to continue playing this game or not, because I've stuck with it for so long. And I think the Transformers collab is probably the best collab they've done so far. So, but it just sucks that it came out in the worst time. The worst time. Like, yeah. So that's my gripes with Overwatch right now. Like, it's just a struggle. I'm waiting until the dev blog. I'll talk about it more on stream if you guys want, but I've talked about it so much. It's just, we've gone through it so much. But if you guys want to hear me talk about it more on a vid, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, fish trouts, and take care of yourself as always. Bye-bye. Kaboom.